Hello and welcome back to the Money Hungry Mama. I am so excited to have Dr. Taylor here. Dr. Taylor, take it away.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I'm sure you're gonna get to learn all about me, so I won't go too much into that. But yeah, I'm so excited to be here, and let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So, Taylor, you're a child psychologist, a professor, an award winning author, and you run Better Together. How did this all start? What was the moment that you were like, this is the things I'm going to do?
I don't know that I ever felt like it was something that I was like meant to do, but I'm very much into like what is meant for me kind of finds me in that path. And all of these things have found me like in that path of life. So I actually started out pre-med when I was in college. And during that process, I was in an anatomy class. And for anyone who is in that anatomy class with me and has experienced that, they will know exactly what I'm talking about. Our teacher had a very like thick French accent, so a lot of the things were up for interpretation sort of. And like so I was going through this class, I got through the class, I got my first C ever, and this like woman came up to me and was like, "You're never gonna be a doctor." And I was like, "Oh my gosh," right? And as a college student, I was like, "This is the end of my whole life. This is terrible. How am I gonna live through this? This is the worst." So then I had to go like tell my mom, right? Like, "Hey mom, like what do I do?"
Yeah.
So I went to my, and like now, by the way, I know that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if I could go back, I would be like, you probably shouldn't say that to students. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But fast forward, I think that really pushed me in the direction that I was supposed to be in because I went into my counseling session and I was just felt a little defeated, right? And my counselor said, "Hey, you almost have a minor in psychology." And I said, "Well, how is that possible? Like, I didn't sign up for that." And he was like, "It's just the electives that you've taken. You've taken so many psych electives that you're like basically at a minor." And I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird." Okay. And so I went home and I really thought about it. And of course, I was still like bent out of shape and just like the world is ending and life is over. But I switched to psychology as my major and I just kind of never looked back after that. And it was, yeah, I mean, it was just one of those experiences that kind of changed everything for me. But once I got into that major, things got so easy for me. And it was because I just enjoyed it so much. And it was just like it came so natural, right? And when you have that sort of thing that just clicks for you, life just becomes really easy.
I love that you just said that. Okay, so let's back up. First off, ew, it is terrible that a professor had said that to you because I think
Yeah.
your one job in life is to build students up to like feel like they could do these things and like
Huh?
for her to go that route to turn your life into this way, like I just feel like everything does happen for a reason. And if she wasn't so stern and said that, you would have never found out that you could do psychology and like love it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would have taken me a lot longer, right? Or maybe I would have just
Yeah.
continued to like struggle. I don't know, right? Like it wasn't like I was struggling in anything else. So, I don't know, but at the end of the day, it was one of those things that like just really hit home for me that like maybe I need to do something else.
Yeah.
And then I did my master's and my doctorate, and I just kind of kept going on from there and just kept progressing. And a lot of the things that have happened because of other things in my life. Like, I have pictures, where I was doing my doctorate, and at the time, our son was, like, 6 months old, and so he was sitting in my lap during the class. Yeah, and I was like, "I just have to get it done, right? Like, you just have to do it, and there's nothing else," I didn't think there was any other way. It was just like, "This is what it is. This is what I'm doing, right? And this is my circumstance in life, right? And here I am, right?" And, some people might not like that, and some people some teachers might not enjoy that, but that's the reality is like, people have lives, people do all of these things. And so to me, I think I never think of anything as like a negative, right? It's just maybe that wasn't my path, right? Like maybe someone was helping me and pushing me into another path for like a reason. So I'm always very big on like what is meant for me will come to me. And that was definitely one of those things, right? And so I've just never looked back from there. And actually, when I started my psychology is when I got into meditation and mindfulness, which is definitely what brought on the books. So it's all kind of progressed from there, I guess.
Love it. And as you guys are listening to us, you're going to kind of see how all of these things thread together because the next thing is you're all about like helping siblings build connection instead of conflict. Was that inspired by your own family or something you saw over and over in your work?
Both, both. So I started off, I won't say directly because I don't know if I even can, but I worked for a county doing child psychology, and I saw a lot of people always kind of concerned about sibling dynamics and how can they foster these good relationships between their kids. And obviously, raising my own two kids, right? I always desired them to have such a good dynamic. That was like my number one priority was that they really just adored each other. So we don't ever compare them. We don't ever start fights between them, right? Or like intentionally, and I know sometimes parents do it unintentionally, but they still do, right? Like, oh, you're acting like a baby, your brother's not acting like that. Or like, whatever the case might be. I never said that. And it's
Wow.
because I truly hope that they have the best dynamic, and they do. Like, it's this adorable thing to watch them interact with each other. Sometimes it's annoying because, like, if I'm trying to get them to go to sleep, right? And so that's something else.
Yeah.
We've been co-sleeping with our oldest since he was like a year and a half. And everyone has their opinions on that. That's cool. Good for you. I absolutely love it. I love the whole experience. I get to be with my kids right before they go to bed. We get to be their safe space. Me and our oldest, when our youngest goes to sleep, we get to kind of chat and snuggle and do all those things. But they put each other to sleep. Like, truly, they love to snuggle with each other more than they love to snuggle with us.
Wow.
Yeah, they are just, like, obsessed with each other. Like, even today, I was trying to get our youngest down for, like, a nap, and our oldest was laying next to him, and they just wouldn't stop giggling. And, like and I was like, "Please go to sleep, please." I was like, "I can't do this, like, go to sleep." And I was, like, kind of frustrated, right? But then at the same time, I'm like, "Oh my god, you guys have such a good dynamic."
Yeah.
So, day one, we always tried to make time for our oldest. Even when I came home, I was like, okay, mom's going to go do this stuff with you. Dad's going to do this stuff with you. We're going to have time together. We're going to have time apart. And we really just try to create that really good dynamic. So, those books really came from my work and also raising my own kids and kind of seeing what people wanted. So one of my favorite movies of all time, something that I really take with me every day, and I still am never gonna remember the name of it. I think it's called Robots. And the whole concept of the movie is like see a need, fill a need. Like he's an inventor and he goes to this like city and he goes to this big, corporation and he's trying to be an inventor. And so the whole goal is that like see a need, fill a need. And that's kind of always where I've been is like when you see this need, fill that need, right? And so for me, when I saw this need of like how many times a day someone would ask me like, how do I create better sibling dynamics? I'm like, okay, well that makes sense. And so it just kind of has really all progressed from like my real life stuff. And the meditation and mindfulness has as well. I get asked a lot, like coping skills for kids. And I used to work with adults and I saw that a lot of adults don't have basic coping skills. I'm like, "You can't breathe and count to 10? Really?" I'm like, "You don't know what box breathing is? Like, you don't no one ever showed you that?" And so for me, that was, like, a really big thing too, was when I saw these needs, I was like, "How can I fill this need?" But I knew that I wanted to be in the kids' space. So I was like, okay, if the parents don't have it, the kids definitely don't have it. And so then I just started kind of doing the meditation and mindfulness books, and those are super fun. That's my favorite assembly to do of all time. So any schools, please call me because I love doing those assemblies. It is like literally the funnest thing.
Gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna back up for a second
Yeah.
because I think you kind of hit home where you said, the sibling dynamic and how you never compared them. And even unintentionally as parents, we compare them. And I think when you said, I don't know, something about like, don't do that, your sister doesn't do that, or you're acting like a baby or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, my mind is rattling and you don't even remember what you say to them sometimes. And I'm like, oh my God, did I say that? Like, did I cause like any kind of like complication between them? And as you're talking, it's just so incredible to hear these things because we don't always know, even though we're learning now, and I think that's what I love about our generation, like millennials, shout out. I think we are kind of changing the way things are happening. And like we're learning about mindfulness and meditation and, taking accountability even as an adult. And it's not just, you're a child, I'm the adult, that's why you have to listen to me. No, it's like I'm teaching you because I've been through it. So like this is kind of the things that I just love how we're more vocal with our children. And hearing you talk about this, it's like, oh my gosh, like there's so many things that we're still learning. And this was one that just hit the nail on the head for me.
Yeah, it makes me think of one of my favorite books of all time, and I promise you I don't know this person. I can't even tell you this person's name. There's a book called Siblings Without Rivalry, and I read it before our second son was born, and it was just such an incredible book. I believe the author is a she, so don't quote me on that, but I believe she did like all these studies where she did these like groups with different parents, and it was just such an eye-opening book to me I also follow a lot of like Nordic sort of parenting styles, and that's been kind of a game changer for me too, because they just don't really like stress like we do
Yeah.
here. They just really don't. They leave their kids outside in the winter in a stroller and like it's fine.
Love that for them.
That would scare me, but I mean, shout out to you. Like clearly they feel safe enough to do that, and that's
Yeah,
incredible that they feel
for
safe enough to
sure.
do that. But yeah, I mean, like really the sibling dynamic thing for me was just such a like pull to me because we had two kids and like I've seen how awful some like siblings are to each other. And
Yeah.
like I just don't ever want that for them. I really don't. I'm
No.
like I never wanted it, and it just kind of became this thing that like drive that. And I was like, if I can do this for my own kids, I'm gonna do it for other people too. And who knows? Maybe down the road I write like, a book for parents. I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna take me, but for me it was just so important for them to have such a good dynamic.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, I don't remember one fight with my siblings. And like even my kids when they fight, it's very like minimal, like they both are fighting over the same toy. But I just love this conversation because, you've encountered so many. I mean, I've encountered so many siblings that just so it's cool to see that there's a way to stop it and a way to address it and make it so they're not in a you think of like a workplace when you have like this boss and the boss kind of pins people against each other without even the people realizing that
Huh?
they're being pinned. So it's like the same kind of concept, which is thanks for shedding light on that. I love that.
I mean, and it goes on, right? Like as you become an adult, you still have those same dynamics with your
For
siblings,
sure.
right? And then you see them and you go back into those patterns and it's like, why are you acting like that? And to me, like growing up as an only child, I don't understand it at all. I'm like, like I watch the way my husband interacts with his siblings, and I'm like, I don't get this whatsoever. This
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. Uh,
No.
but I think that, it's just so crucial, and I'm so happy that like our generation is able to sort of look within and be like, hey, we've seen these things, we want to do these things differently, and not to hate on any other generation. But I do definitely agree that like our generation is much more in tune with like, hey, these are the things that we don't want to do this way. Like my kids will fight, sure. I mean, like if they have the same toy or whatever, but like what? It's mainly me reminding our 4.5-year-old, right? Because a 21-month-old, he understands, but not really to that extent, right? And so it's me reminding our 4.5-year-old, like, hey, at some point, like, you don't have to share. Like, I don't care if you share or not, but at the end of the day, just remember other people aren't going to share it with you then. If you're not willing to do that, then other people aren't going to do it with you either. And more so not being like, you need to share, we're like forcing sharing. The thing that I hate the most is when people force apologies. It drives me literally insane. It drives me nuts. Like, we never force an apology. Do not force an apology. It's not genuine. You're not, like, it's not a genuine thing. I'm like, you're just forcing something that's not really genuine. They don't feel bad about it. They just said
Yeah.
sorry because you told them to.
That's so true. So now, like you posted online, I think you said sibling play can reduce aggression by 40%. That's an incredible number. So, what kind of play
Correct.
do you recommend for moms who are in the my kids won't stop fighting season?
Why are your kids fighting? Why are your kids fighting? I think it's a bigger question of like not what sort of play we're talking about, but getting to the root of why are your kids fighting? At the end of the day, like if they're fighting over the same toy, let's talk about why that is, right? Like sometimes my oldest just has to have the same toy. Like it's like he sees our youngest playing with it and he's like, "Oh, I forgot about that. I want that." And it's like, "Well, wait a minute, hang on." And so then my job is to intervene, right? And be like, "He was playing with that first. When he's done with it, feel free." Right? But before that, like he was playing with it peacefully, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it seems like pretty simple to me. Leave him alone. Right? Like he wasn't doing anything. He's not bothering you. And it's pretty much that way. Like the older ones definitely our
Yeah.
younger one doesn't really like our younger one's pretty chill. He's a pretty chill guy. So he's not really the type to like go and like snatch something from him. But I would say like the other day we were at like an author thing the other day and then all the kids were playing after. And there was a kid that was, like, particularly struggling with other kids playing with his toys, right? Like, his mom had brought a bunch of trucks and, like, he was kind of struggling with that experience. And so a lot of times for me, I would say it's just knowing your kid and knowing kind of what's gonna happen beforehand, right? So if I know my kid's gonna struggle with something like that, right, we're gonna talk about it in advance, right? I'm gonna say, "Hey, we're bringing your trucks and that's cool, but, like, just so you know, other kids are probably gonna wanna play with them." right? So a lot of it for me is kind of giving him the rundown of what's going to happen or what could potentially happen, and that way he's aware, right? Like, and it's not throwing him off so much when someone comes and like snatches that truck and he's like, "Wait a minute, what is that?" So I think a lot of it is just kind of talking through the situation, right? And really getting down to why your kids are fighting in the first place.
Yeah, I love I do the same where it's like addressing my kids, but I'm talking to them like basically I'm talking to an adult. Like, "Hey, this is gonna happen if you're doing that, and, that's fine, we can still do it, but you may cry, and I'm just
Yeah.
letting you know this is gonna happen."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally, our youngest has glue above his eye right now, like literal glue, because we told him 1,000 times to get. We have a little nook where we eat breakfast, and we told him a million times, do not climb on the nook, do not climb, do not climb. Within 7 seconds, I mean, literally, he was up and then he fell. I was like, and sometimes they have to
I
sort of
have
learn the
to.
hard way. We don't want him to get hurt, right? But sometimes there is sort of this learning the hard way, right? If I told you what was going on and I continue to tell you and I continue to pull you down off of there, right? Like at some point, there is a learning that has to happen.
100%.
So I think I'm like super blunt with him though. Like even with our 4.5-year-old, some of the things he says, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what have I done? Like as an example, perfect parenting example. The other day, I was like, okay, you're not gonna do that. No, thank you. Right? Like we're good. And I said, I don't remember how I said, if you don't come over here in like, 10 seconds or, you know, then we're gonna have to have a conversation about what's gonna happen next. And he looks me dead in the face and he goes, so like what comes next? And he was like evaluating if his punishment was like worth what he was doing. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
It. I think the 4-year-old, I don't know, this is how I feel, like, everybody's like, "The terrible twos," no. When you get to 4, there's, like, a different thing happening there, like, 4 is
Yeah.
to me is worse than 2 because now they're smarter, and they're
Yeah.
also, like, testing you in different ways, like, my daughter who is, like, this gem of a little human, like, barely even speaks when we go out, like, is just, like,
Yeah.
this perfect thing, started doing something the other day, I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "Honestly, I don't know." And I was like, "Okay, then, like, what are we doing? Like, d
Yeah.
am I
You're
do
like,
you
then
think"
don't.
Yeah, I'm like,
Please.
"Do you think I'm gonna give you what you want?" And she's like, "No." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, then we should probably fix that."
Yeah.
Like, it's just so funny.
Oh
It's
yeah.
so funny.
He's learned from our, like, 21-month-old that, like, whining will get you something, even though our 21-month-old doesn't get things for whining, but, like, it's different, right? He's, like,
Yeah,
crying because he actually wants something, and, like, he's communicating, but sometimes he gets frustrated because he can't communicate everything, and so he'll do this fake, like, whine, and I just look at him and I'm like, "Do you think that's gonna get you what you desire?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, then let's just not."
yeah, let's just leave that out.
I'm
We're
like,
gonna
"'Cause
leave that out.
honestly, it just makes me wanna put on my headphones."
Yeah, it's so true. It's
I'm
so
like, it doesn't
true.
change the outcome, and that's the thing is I think a lot of times again, like, I say this, but parents, like, I get it. You're, like, overworked, you're all of the
Mhm.
above, and then you come home and your kid's doing something like whining, and you're like, "Please just make it stop."
Yep,
I absolutely get that, but then we're creating these patterns, right? And so
so true.
I just if I need to take a deep breath, I need to take a deep breath. I don't really get worked up too much, though. Honestly, I'm just not really that type of person. I never have been. So to me, parenting has kind of been this really easy thing. And I
Yeah,
hate to say that because I know people are going to be like, it's not easy. And I know it's not easy. To me, I just am one of those people that is, I grew up in a generation with people pleasers, right?
yeah, yeah,
So in a weird way, parenting has kind of felt like that, right? Like I am very good at putting other people's needs first. And that's where I think parenting has been easy for me, is that I'm really capable of putting other people's needs first, and I want to. Like, I desire to do that. Now, I'm not gonna give in to the chaos,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I still feel like I'm very good at just putting their needs above my own, and I feel okay with that. And I
Yes.
think a lot of times where people struggle is when they don't feel okay with that,
Mhm.
and they feel like it's, like, more of a burden to put their kids' needs first. And that's a whole other topic.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
yeah.
whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just always kind of been this very fun thing. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm absolutely and completely obsessed with them. Like, I have
Oh,
no other answer. I have no other answer than that. Like, truly, I can't give you some magic thing. I am completely and totally obsessed with them on every level.
yeah, I call it beautiful chaos. And I think,
Yeah.
everybody handles it in their own completely different way. And I just think like, it 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 is what it is. Either it seems to be easy for some people and sometimes it is really hard. But I think there's always a hard. It just depends on what your hard is. And I think that that is so true to be, like, so obsessed with your kids. I don't know
Yeah.
one person in my life that's not, like, extremely obsessed with their kids. Like, it's, like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I just love being a mom. It's literally
Yeah.
my favorite job in the whole entire world.
I didn't think it was gonna be, like, my favorite thing, really, like, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I'd have been like, "Okay, sure, whatever." I do a lot of things differently than I would have ever thought would have happened. It's just you just kind of evolve and you
Yeah.
adapt and you kind of figure out what works, and, like, if you would have even told me that we would be homeschooling our 4.5-year-old, I would have been like, "You're right, okay, yeah, sounds good."
Yeah.
But he was born in 2020. It was me and my husband and him for the first essentially the first year. And so that just kind of became our norm. And then it was like, well, what do we do with him now? I was like, I can't send him off somewhere. Like, what am I supposed to do? I was like, I think I would have a nervous breakdown, like dropping him off somewhere. I was like, so what do we do? And then we had a nanny and we loved her and we had her for 4 years until we decided to move. And then, it just kind of became that thing that I was like, okay, I guess we're homeschooling. I guess we're really doing this. And my husband looked at me like I had 7 heads. He was like, "Why?" He was like, we both went to public school, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, and I see a problem with that." I
Yeah.
was like, "I see a much bigger problem with that." And, that's kind of how the foundation came into play, was me seeing a problem with the public school system.
Love it. We're gonna
Yeah,
get to it. We're gonna get to the
yeah.
foundation. Okay, let's get back. Let's get back on track here. Your mantra monster book is such a fun way
Sure.
to help kids manage big feelings. How do you take something as complex as emotional regulation and make it work for a bedtime story?
I don't know, I have fun. Truly, look, like, here's my phone.
He's so
It's got
cute.
my nice little I started writing those actually, and again, I will say this time and time and time again, things have truly fallen into my lap that have meant for me to, like, do it. So one of my really good friends was writing a children's book. I had had some ideas, but never really, like, followed through on it. I didn't even really know where to start. And she said, "Hey, I have this." We were just kind of talking, and she goes, "I'm writing this children's book. I have this great illustrator, you know." And I was like, "Yeah, I have some ideas, but I never really like thought about it." And so she connected me to the illustrator, and it just really kind of went from there. I mean, it was just this really fun, and I wanted to create, like, I knew that I wanted them to be fun. I knew I wanted them to be like breathwork exercises that kids could really follow along with, right? That didn't feel like they were doing work, right? I wanted to just feel like these fun things that they were doing that they could use in real life. So to me, giving them coping skills that they could use in day to day. And I'm sure like a teacher isn't going to care if they're like roaring in class for 10 seconds versus like punching the kid next to them,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I'm like, pick your battles.
Yeah.
Uh, so literally one of my, and I say this over and over again, it's one of my favorite assemblies to do because we get to like roar, we get to be super loud, and it's like so fun. And I actually went back to my elementary school in March, and I did that with like over 600 kids, and it was like so much fun. Like it's literally the best. Because I get to be the super fun one, and then like I have to be like, okay, you guys have to be like quiet. We have to like bring it back down, and none of them want to bring it back down. So it's it's like trying to wrangle in a bunch of kids. It's great. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of started there, and it progressed in the second book, and then I started thinking about like me and my son used to bake on Instagram quite a bit. I don't know if you watched that video of the Halloween one like recently.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Oh God, if you haven't,
I'm gonna
uh,
have to look. What
go
is
watch it. It
Yeah,
is our 4.5-year-old's personality to a T. I did not not that I ever script them, but I didn't give him any sort of feedback, nothing.
love
I
it.
was like, "Here's what I want you to do. I want you to, like, be as witchy as humanly possible," and this is what he did. Like,
I love it.
it was absolutely hysterical.
Oh my god.
So we used to cook a lot on Instagram, and I was like, "Well, how can I take this, right, this concept, because I think it's so much fun for me. How can I take this, put real world like parenting scenarios in there, and really create a thing that people can get behind in a way that they're like, hey, like I use this in real life, right? And so that's kind of where that started. And we'll have some really cool like recipes coming up. One of my favorite things when I was growing up is my grandma. We would go over to, so we lived like we all kind of lived relatively close, and my grandma would make every once in a while she would make biscuits and gravy, and we were like all so excited about it,
So
and
fun.
I've learned how to make it over the years. And so she finally like taught me how to do all of it and everything. And so one of the books is going to have that in there, and it's going to be, for like grandparents' day and all that good stuff. So that'll be a super fun. So you'll have that to look forward to.
I love it. That is really fun, and I love how you, like, literally tie everything together, right? Like, you have
This is not intentional. This is absolute chaos. There is no intention behind this. I'm just kind of following what naturally fits for me. Like, really, there's no plan. I promise you. I don't have some like master plan. It just kind of is all interconnected.
okay, well, I'm gonna say that. Guys, you heard it here. If you are just following something that's aligning with how you feel, it works for you because now Dr. Taylor not only has her children's books, but now she started a nonprofit. Please tell us about Better Together.
Sure. So, like I said, I went to that elementary school through sponsorships. We were able to donate over 600 books. It was absolutely amazing. Loved it. All the kids got to go home with a book. It was great. And so after that, I really learned like how many schools could and couldn't afford something like that, right? And so I said to myself, like, what can I do about this? Because at the end of the day, to me, it was like such a fun and amazing experience. And like, I went home that night and I got the most adorable, like, message. So a girl that I went to high school with messaged me, and she was like, "Hey, my daughter said that she met someone famous today." And I was like, "That's the cutest thing I've ever heard." I don't feel that way at all. So that's super cool that she feels that way. And so it was just such an incredible experience for me to kind of do that. That I said, how can I do it more? Right. And so the whole point of the foundation is that we are in the process of funding. And what's going to happen is once we kind of accrue all these funds, I'm going to go into Title I schools and they are going to receive all of these resources, including books, including, social emotional learning workshops and things like that, and author visits completely free. So the whole goal is that every school gets to experience things like this. And eventually, you know, eventually, I will have authors hopefully in every state that I can say, hey, would you like to go to this author visit? Or, depending on who they desire, I can say, hey, do you want to go to this author visit at this school? And then sort of do all these things. So these kids are going to really get to experience a really great situation, right? Because a lot of schools can't afford an author visit, period, ever. And so I didn't want to ask the authors to do it for free because I don't feel like that's fair either. So that was kind of the in between was I was like, how am I going to get these authors in there, but also do it at no cost to the school? So the foundation started because of me going back home and doing an author visit.
It is really cool. Um, for most of everybody listening at this point, we know that my hustle is children's books, and I do my author visits for free, but it's because I was a teacher, so I know the schools don't have money. But I also know
Yeah.
a ton of authors that charge a lot of money but provide a lot of value. So I love what you're doing because it hits home for me, and I think that these schools deserve to have these incredible authors come in and their stories and different writing projects. And I think it's just a fun way to bring, a community together. So I love what you're doing. Now, for everybody that's listening that is loving this foundation, how can they support it?
So please DM me, email me, all the above. Like, reach out if you feel called to like sponsor. We are also eventually, when the time is right, I'm also going to be doing research as well. So also going to be spearheading research on social emotional learning through the foundation. And if you have a school that's like, hey, we can fund this, the best part is so I have emailed a couple schools so far and I've said, hey, this is how much I'm charging for this author visit. If you would like to do that, I will immediately reach out to a Title I school in your area and do a free visit. So I'm kind of really trying to like get it out there, right? So please, 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 if you feel called to sponsor, if you know a school that can do this author visit, like I'm immediately giving back to Title I schools in that area. And for people who are like, well, like, what if I want to sponsor, in New York? Okay, great. My answer to that is you sponsor in New York. I will say, hey, I'm going to fly to New York and I'm going to visit Title I schools in New York, right? Because I want to give back to your community too. I don't want it to just be like a random, you're sponsoring and then it's not going back to your community. Like I will absolutely be like, I'll be on the next flight to New York. Like, here we go. So, I mean, truly, I want it to be a 50 statewide thing. Like, I want it to be everywhere. I want to make sure that we get all of these Title I schools these resources, right? Because when I left that day, it just so happened to be career day. After we left that day, they said, how many kids want to be an author? And like half of the kids in there like raised their hand. And I was like, this is the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Like I've actually made an impact in these child's lives, and, like, that's what I want to do. And so it just kind of, yeah, and I really didn't wanna ask, like, I think it's incredible that you're doing those author visits for free, but that's also your time, right? That's your time, and
For sure.
I know that, there's a lot of authors who do this full time. And so that was kind of the hard part is I didn't want to ask them to do it for free because then I'm kind of also telling these other authors like,
No.
we're probably gonna get more visits, right? Because we're doing it for free. So that's not really fair to you either.
No,
So
100%. And that's what I mean. Like I do it for free just because I was in a Title I school for 10
yeah.
years. So for me, I know what that looks like. I know, how great of an impact these kids see when people come in. And it's just a beautiful thing that you're doing. And for anybody that's listening that's not in this world, I could just tell you right now, just from hearing her, listening to what I'm about to say, like sitting there and telling kids that you chased your dream and that you wrote this book and watching their face light up because at that age too, they have so many stories running in their heads. And then all of a sudden they're raising their hands with all these story ideas that are actually insanely great. And
Oh
you're
my
like,
gosh.
wow, like one day
Yes.
you're really going to write books. And it's like, I don't know what happens to us and at what age we switch over that we lose that really creative, incredible storytelling brain, but we do. And it's like just like listening to them to get so hyped. Like I had people message me and email me after that their kid went home and like drew a full book. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
is the coolest thing ever is just to sit there. And this podcast is all about moms chasing their dreams, but our job, we get to also go and show kids like, hey, you could be anything you want. And I think that there
Yeah.
you can't put a price on that.
I think the thing, and I'm going to say this, and it really goes back to our 4.5-year-old. He is the sweetest, kindest human being. And one of the main reasons that I chose homeschooling is because I knew in that environment he wasn't going to thrive. I knew that it was just going to be the thing that kind of broke him, right? Like sitting in that desk for so long, doing all those things. And I'm not telling you how to like parent your kids, or I'm not telling you how to live your life, right? But I think sometimes that environment also stifles that creativity, right? And I follow a mom on social media who used to be a principal and then she quit and is now homeschooling her kids. And she said something the other day, and I can't remember what it was about, but it was something along the lines of how sitting at a desk all day and being told when to raise your hand and told when to use the bathroom is not preparing you for the real world. And I thought about it and I thought about it really hard and I was like, but it is. I was like, but it is. Because guess what's going to happen? You're going to go into a corporate job. You're going to sit at a desk. Someone's going to tell you what to do all day. They're probably going to tell you when you can eat lunch, when you
Wow.
can go to the bathroom,
Yeah,
right? It's the same thing.
it
And
is.
like, and so we're just constantly stifling creativity. And I just don't want kids to do that, right? Like, I'm like, I want you to be like as weird as you wanna be,
Yeah.
right? Like, be weird, it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
our oldest loves everything magic, like, everything. I mean, literally, Harry Potter, like, he is obsessed with Hocus Pocus. I have no idea where he acquired that
Love
from.
that movie.
Yeah, yes, yeah, you'll see when you watch that video. You'll just be
Yeah,
like, "Yeah."
I
You'll
literally
be like, "I get it."
I didn't see it. I'm literally on Instagram all the time. I don't know how I
You'll be
missed
like
that.
you'll be like, "I see it now." Like,
Yeah.
it's so obvious. But he was just one of those kids that I knew, like, that system wasn't gonna work for him. And I kind of just was like, "I don't wanna do that to you." And so, again, like, I do not hate on the public school system. I think there's so many areas where it can improve, right? And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is like I would love to see a scenario where my kid went to school and like he really truly felt supported and he felt like he could be super creative and like authors came into his school and were like telling him all these things he could be, right? And I think at a certain point as you get older, people start to tell you what you can't do, and
Yes.
then you start to believe it, right? And so, did I ever think I was gonna be an author? Absolutely not. I've never met an author, so how would I know?
Yeah.
And so
No,
I think
it's
it's
so
just so
true.
important to get that all out there and be like, you can literally do whatever you want. Like no one is stopping you.
And it's so funny because, like, it's so true. I felt like my whole entire life it was like, be a teacher, be a teacher, be a teacher. And then all of a sudden, in this new world that we're living in, where there's so many ways to be creative, so many ways to make money, my dad, who I was so scared to tell, "Hey, I'm not doing that anymore," was the first person to be like, "Oh, good. There's a lot of money you can make doing something else." I was like, "Wait a second." I was like, "My whole life you said I had to do this, and now you're like, go for it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh." I just think it's like crazy. I just think this world has so many opportunities, and I feel like a lot of people are catching on. And I think that's really cool.
But yeah, my grandparents joke all the time. Like they will literally make jokes and they'll be like, "You gonna write a book about that?" Okay, thank you,
Yeah, I
I
am
guess.
actually, and
Maybe I
that's about to
might.
be a good one.
You know, I'm like I might. I don't know. You know?
I
Who
love it.
knows? Who knows? Yeah, they always make jokes. They got a lot of jokes. Yeah, I mean, truly, I just at a certain point, I just told myself, like, why can't it be me? Right? Like, I see all these people doing all of these things, and I will happily, I don't think he's ever gonna listen to this, so that'll be good. I will happily tell you that I think my husband is one of those people who just never thought he couldn't.
Yeah.
Right, and he is very successful in his business and doing all of those things, and so I think he just kinda opened my eyes to, like, why couldn't it be me? Why do I have to follow this, like, 9 to 5 path? Why can't I do that?
And I talk about this on this podcast a lot. Like, there has to be that shift, that exact wording. Why can't it be me? That light has to go on for you to actually change, for you to actually start believing in yourself, for your circumstances to change. And I think I just love that you said that because like everything in me just fired up and I'm like, yes, like that light needs to go on. And for all of you listening, like if you're not hearing the why it can't be you, go back and listen to the a zillion other episodes by the time this one comes out.
Yeah.
It can be you. You're listening to real moms like Dr. Taylor that are doing incredible things. She doesn't even have a game plan. She's just following it and it's working out so well.
I
So like
really am
why
not, I
can't it be
promise.
you?
I was like, "I wanna be a professor, I love teaching," and so I did. Like, there's really nothing. I have no agenda, like, I promise you I have no agenda, nothing. I just am crazy enough to think, like, why shouldn't I?"
Because you believe in you, because you're great. And I
I don't
love
tell
that.
you every day that I believe in myself. I don't know that that's always true. I think there are moments where everybody gets kind of
100%.
like questions what they're doing and why they're doing it and all of those things. But I think in those really rough days, I just lean into my kids and I'm like, I'm doing this also for you.
Leading into my question, what does being a money hungry mama mean to you?
I would say the freedom to wake up every day and choose to do what I want to do. The choice to not have to show up for anybody else but me, but for my family. I don't wanna show up for anybody else but that. I don't wanna I'm sorry, I don't wanna show up for your corporation. I don't. I
Yeah,
don't. You can have the best mission of all time, and I still don't want to. I don't. I want to do what I'm called to do, and that's it.
yeah.
So it's freedom to me. It's freedom to wake up at a slow pace and do what I wanna do in the morning and be with my kids and watch my 4.5-year-old chase our chickens because that's what he really desired.
It's so true. It's so true. Freedom. That's like honestly what this is all about. Freedom to be a real present mom. And I
Yeah.
love that so much. So, what's one golden tip about raising emotionally healthy kids that you normally charge your clients for, but you're willing to give for free?
Okay. So I was doing I think it was called Toddlers and Tantrums or something along those lines. I don't remember the exact name of it, but I was in this space and there was a bunch of moms who had never met me before in their life. They were like, I probably don't even know who this person is, but they decided to show up. Right. So I knew that I didn't want to make it some scripted thing. I just wanted it to be a Q and A where I really answered their questions to the best of my ability. So I go into the room, they're all sitting in these chairs. Some of them have brought their kids, some haven't. And there's a chair right in the middle. And so I kicked the chair out of the way. They all kind of looked at me like, okay. And I sat on the floor. And I was like, I'm going to talk to you this way because this is how I would talk to my kids. And they all just kind of looked at me like, okay. And so I sat there and I answered all their questions. And they were like, why are you sitting on the floor? And I was like, well, this is how I talk to my kids. I'm like, the best thing you can do in those moments where they are feeling overstimulated or just not themselves, right? The best thing you can do is look somebody in the eye, right? Just have that general sense of compassion for another human being, right? And I always think of myself as like a house, right? And I think of my kids as these little tornadoes, and it's a great way for me to kind of like make myself laugh a little bit. And so in those moments where they're just super chaotic, I'm like, I just can't deal with this, which was like earlier. For as a prime example, our 4.5-year-old was challenging everything possible. Like everything had an answer. And like I can't deal with this right now. And like our whole house didn't really feel super well. And then our, 21-month-old is like not really sleeping. He's like learning all these words. He's like all over the place. We call it a software upgrade. And so we were sitting there and I just like, I think of myself as the house, right? Like my job is to be sturdy. My job is to be strong. My job is to not respond, right? I'm just supposed to sit there, right? So I sit there and I wait for them to calm down, right? Now, if like one's gonna throw something at the other or something like that, it doesn't really happened too much because we kind of like nipped that a while ago. But then I would be like, okay, I'm going to remove myself and I'm going to remove your sibling until you are like in a safe space, right? But let's just say that's not the case. I will sit there. My only job is to be sturdy, right? I don't need to respond, and I think that's the thing is like we always feel like we have to respond, right? We got to fix it. I'm like, no, you don't have to fix it. It's okay for them to feel sad or angry or mad. I'm like, if you're hurt, that's different. If you are just upset because you're having a bad day or whatever, like I don't need to stop that. So our oldest at this point knows because we've kind of been through this. And there were many nights where I missed dinner or I missed whatever, or my food was cold because I was sitting with him on the floor while he had, a 2-year-old meltdown. And I was like, I am here for you. I love you. And I'm going to wait for you to come to me. I didn't like grab him. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, we need to I need to fix this. I was like, when you're ready to come to me, come to me. Right? I'm sitting right here. I'm not going anywhere. And I think that was just such a game changer that he saw like, even in his worst moment, I was still going to be there.
I did not do that, and you're making me like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I would have done that." I'm the type where, like, he's, like, having a fit, and I just, like, walk over him, and I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "I gotta go do something else."
Well, now he's 4.5, and I'm like, "You're fine, like, shake it off." But he knows at the end of the day, like, he knows if he needs a hug from me, like, just I'm right here. I'm sitting here, I'm hanging out. So now we have a totally different dynamic, right? But when he was, like, really little, that was, like, the thing is I was like, "I'm here for you. I'm not going anywhere." And he's definitely the big feeler out of our 2 kids. Our other one is, like, gets glue on his eye and just kinda like, "Meh," and I'm like, my god. Yeah, yeah. And our, like, oldest, like, stubs his toe, and it's, like, a 20-minute event.
100%.
So, again, like, handling them differently too, right? Like, they're 2 completely different individuals who need different things. And so I just really tried to come from a place of connection, right? I tried to find that place where and if you're asking me if I learned this from my parents, I didn't. I didn't. So for anyone who was like, she probably grew up this super cute, like, super sweet family, I just told you that my grandparents make jokes. Like, that's not true. I love them, but none of my family is super soft or sweet or any of those things, so I think I learned that sort of, like, toughness from them, but that I learned to be like, I can be tough in the sense that I can be kind of, like, grounded, but then I can also be compassionate and be like, "I see that you're having a meltdown, and that's okay. Like, what's wrong with that? Everybody has a bad day."
100%.
And I think
100.
we expect too much of our kids. Like, they have to be perfect all the time, and I'm like, "That's not true."
Yeah, I catch myself, like, and I think this, again, just wasn't something back then where they thought of. It was just
Yeah.
very much like, "This is the way that you're supposed to do it," but I catch myself sometimes being like, honestly, like, he's not really doing anything wrong, he's just being an 8-year-old boy, and it's me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the
Oh,
problem
yeah.
because I want you to stop doing that, and it's like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
swinging on something, and I'm like, "No, I gotta calm down." Like, he literally is great. What am I doing? Like, why
Oh,
do
yeah.
I feel the need? So, it's definitely something that we have to internalize too and be like, "Okay, you're the problem." Like, as the
Yeah.
mom, like, "Okay, calm down." Like, all he's doing is being an 8-year-old boy, and
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just something that we learn with in time, and as we're, like, being parents, like, nobody we never knew what we're doing. Nobody comes in there's
No.
700 different, manuals that you can read, but nobody really tells you, "Hey, this is the exact layout of motherhood and how to do it." It's like, you're learning too, and, like, I think that's the first thing I say to him all the time, like, "Hey, we're having a bad moment, but you have to remember I'm learning too. I have no idea how to do this. Like, we need to figure this out together." And ever since I just kind of been open about that, I think it changed everything for the better.
Yeah. No, like I said, we're having a totally rough day today on every front humanly possible. Like, I mean it, every front humanly possible. And they are not sponsoring this episode, but if they would like to, they can. We were working on reading. And so we were using the app reading.com, and I truly love it. But again, they're not sponsoring this episode, but if you'd like to, let us know. You can
I
just
love
reach
it.
out, wherever that thing is, you can reach out. Uh, but we were working on reading, and so he's at the point where he's like sounding out the word and then saying the word. And he was just struggling. Like I said, the whole day was a
Yeah.
struggle. The whole day was a struggle. Start to finish, it was just a struggle. And so he got stuck on this word, and I was like, my guy, like, you got this. Like, it's not, like, sound it out. And then he just started guessing. And I was like, I found myself getting frustrated that he was guessing. And I was like, why are you guessing? That's not even close. I was just like, I wanted to just like cross my eyes and be like, oh my gosh. And so I had to like take a minute because I found myself getting so frustrated. Like I was like, stop guessing. Like this is gonna drive me nuts. So like, don't guess. And so it took us probably a good 30 minutes to get through one word. And it was because he was just so flustered. And then he was like, I can't do it. I was like, but you can. And then he was like, just tell me the word. And I was like, I'm not gonna tell you. I was like, we're gonna work through this together. I was like, and however long it takes is however long it takes, but we're not gonna give up. And that was the thing is like, I don't ever want him to give up. Right. And he was so quick to be like, just tell me the word. And I was like, no, 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 I'm not gonna tell you the word. And so we just sat there and it was like, who is gonna be more stubborn? And I was like, trust me, it's me. I've had much more experience. I was like, I've had years worth of experience here.
I love it.
But finally we got through it, right? And then he was super excited. I was like, so you can do it, right? You can. You just have to stop and like relax and, get through it. But truly, like I was ready to just cross my eyes and like throw the iPad across the room. I was just like, I was like, I shouldn't even have done the reading today, but I was like, maybe it's, maybe it'll be the thing that kind of like turns the day around because he really actually likes it. And again, I will say this once again, they are not sponsoring the episode. He just really likes it. There's no incentive for me to say that.
Yeah.
It's actually been really, really great. But yeah, today was just a massive struggle start to finish. Like the whole thing was just a struggle. But yeah, to tell you that I don't have those moments where I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I just felt myself start getting frustrated. And I'm pretty good at figuring out where that comes from pretty quickly. Not to say that, like, again, I'm not perfect, but I remember like when I was a kid, uh, and I used to do like math. I just remember math. And like my dad particularly would get frustrated when I like didn't know the answer and I was like, I don't know. And you know what? I realized why he got frustrated. It wasn't that he didn't know the answer. It was that he didn't know how to help me. And so then I was like, I don't know how to help you. How do I help you? I'm like, and, and I'm just like repeating it. I'm like, how else do I help you? I don't know how else to help you. And so I was more frustrated that I couldn't help him or I couldn't help him figure it out, right? And so I realized like, oh, it's really not about him. It's about the fact that I can't help you and I don't know how, right? I'm like, I'm sounding out the word. I don't know how else to help you. Like, I don't, am I basically giving you the word? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing is a lot of times parents get frustrated not because of their kid, but because they don't know how to help.
Yeah. Very eye-opening. Very eye-opening because like, you bring so many things to light in this conversation. I feel like it's just like I'm internalizing everything and I'm like reevaluating my whole entire life. And it's just like, wow, like struggling with reading, you should see me with my 8-year-old. Like I'm ready to flip tables. I'm like, I don't
Yes.
get it. Like
I
you
was
do this every
literally
day.
I was like borderline about to kick the iPad across the room. I was like, screw reading, you don't need it. I was like,
No,
forget it.
it's so true. And you sit there and you're so calm when inside, like you're bubbling
Oh
and you're
yeah.
just like, okay, just try.
I was like, we're gonna get it. And then he's sitting there and he's like, I don't know how. I don't know. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you are not giving up right now.
Yeah, it's like
I
you're
was
a
like,
motivational speaker
yeah.
every single day. You can do it.
Like wake up being Tony Robbins. I'm like, let's
Yes.
do it. And he's like, what?
It's so true. And then when after you get like you're internalizing your frustrations and you're trying not to scream at your kid because then they're gonna hate reading. So like you're sitting there and all of a sudden you're like a shade of purple and then they read the sentence and then you're like screaming from the rooftop, like, so fast,
Why do
hurry
I
up.
care so much more than you do?
Right? I'm like, I should leave this to your
Yeah.
teacher.
I'm like, I'm sitting there like, why the heck do I care so much about this? This is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's so true. It's so funny. But yeah, that reading, I'm gonna have to try the
Uh,
reading.com with him because I'm telling you, that is so funny.
it's cute. I think it's really great actually. I don't even remember where I saw it. And then I was talking to someone randomly the other day and we started talking about that and their like child was using reading.com too and I was like, "Huh. Okay, wild." So it's been really great. I think he actually really enjoys it. Today was just a really rough day, like all the
And
way
we have
around.
them. Like,
Yeah.
who doesn't have a bad day? I say that all the time. I'm like, it's okay to have a bad day. It's just not okay to treat people the way you're treating them. Like, you could be in a bad mood, but that's fine.
It's okay to have a bad day and not a bad life.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. I love
Like,
it.
we don't let it continue. We're just gonna, like, we're gonna get
Yeah.
up tomorrow, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna have our coffee, and we're gonna move on with the day. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he is one of the smartest children, and it's maybe because I just always talk to him like an adult, but that comes with some bad things as well. One, there's a million questions. Number two, there are definitely some swear words that come out of that. And some of them are absolutely hysterical, and I try so hard not to laugh. I literally try so hard not to laugh, and sometimes I do. I'm like, "You know what? Whatever." And then, like, my older family members are like, "Oh my gosh, he swore." And I'm like,
We're together all day. All right.
"Yeah."
We're glad that's the only thing he's doing right
I'm
now.
like, "You know what?" I'm like, "At the end of the day, like, I think about it as, like, there are situations in life that supersede this that are just awful." And I'm like, "So why do I care?" You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, there are just so many other things in life that and I take this with everything in life. I'm like, why stress out when there's so many other just crazy things going on in the world, right? Like, why? Why am I stressed out about this thing, right? Not that it doesn't matter to me, but I've just learned that like stressing isn't going to change the outcome.
Oh yeah. It's not.
It's
It's
not.
honestly not. It's something that I'm trying to teach myself. It's like if me crying right now, is that gonna change that I'm stressed out about the situation? No. So like shouldn't I just go get a coffee?
Yeah.
Like try to breathe.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Like
go get my iced coffee and that's it.
me and my tea. We're
I
just
love it.
hanging. Like,
It's so true. It's so true. You can't change I love that. You can't change the outcome. So I think it's like Hal, I think his name is Hal Elrod, where he talks about like if you can't change it in the next 5 minutes, let it go. Like, if you can't change it in the next 5 minutes, let it go. There's nothing else you can do. And I'm like, wow, I love that. I love that thought. So, my final question for you is
okay.
what would you say to a mama who's an expert in her field, but is scared to turn that expertise into a business?
Are you scared? What is there to be scared of? Again, like, why? Like this is kind of a funny story. So I am part of a like moms, well, technically it's not just moms. It's like a women's empowerment group and it's a bunch of women that all have businesses.
Very cool.
And so one of the girls, I had no idea that she ran this business. She does a service where she will take your children's like car seat and clean them and do all these things.
Cool.
And so I had never met her like in person. I had just followed her on social media. And so I went to this group and we are sitting there, we're sitting across from each other. We just started talking and then she like got up and she started talking about our business. I was like, that's you? And she was like, yes. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, you're like real. Hang on. I promise you I get excited about things that like people would be like, "What?" And so we just started talking or whatever, and like she started that business like just a couple months back, and like it's been doing amazing. And I'm like, what if you would have never done that, right? Like, what if you would have never started that? So I just think like, why not? Like, what's your worst case scenario? It fails, okay. Well, at least you did it, and like you tried. I don't know. I think we're always scared to fail, and it's like I don't know. I just think that again, I go back to this. School taught you to be scared to fail, right? You don't want to fail a test. You don't want to fail a class. You don't want to fail this. But it's okay to fail. That's how you learn. And so I think it's like just do it. Just put it out there. Who knows what's gonna happen? I have no idea. But like just do it.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, when you think about it in a sense of failing, guys, you are listening to a podcast by somebody that tried 30 side hustles before she found one that she liked. Like, if you go back and listen to all of my fails, like, they're pretty embarrassing. But yet here I am still trucking through
Yeah.
because it means more to do something that you love to do, especially because we're only here for one life. And I feel like
Yeah.
there's no reason why not to at least try because, your neighbor up the street is gonna judge you. Who cares? They're not paying your bills. They're not the one making your paychecks. If it's gonna make you happy and you get to be home, or if you don't wanna be home and you wanna go out, like whatever the case may be, if it's going to make you happy the other day, that's literally all that matters.
Oh yeah. Nah, I don't know how people feel about this, but like as I grew older, my husband will say something different, but as I grew older, I decided to be like an atheist, right? And my husband will say that I'm agnostic, and I'm like, to me, I'm like, I'm perfectly content with this being the only life that I receive because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And so to me, that brings me so much peace. Like I get to do this thing and I get to love what I do and I get to love my kids and I get to wake up every morning enjoying what I do. And so I don't need something else. Right. I'm like, this is what I want to be doing. And I think that's the thing is like sometimes we're always searching for like that next thing, right? Or like, that sense of like more,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, and he's always like, you're agnostic. I'm like, yeah, sure. If you gave me proof, absolutely. I would be like, yep, sounds good. Right. But for me, the reason that I fall into that category is simply because I enjoy what I have right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I love doing what I have right here. And this is what I want to continue doing. And so I wake up every morning being like, I wouldn't want to do anything different.
Mhm. For sure.
And so it's not necessarily like a religious standpoint. It's more of like a, I'm cool if there's nothing else because I love what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, whatever your beliefs are. We have one life. No matter what you think in
Yeah.
the end, we have one life right here. And I feel like you should do what you love. You should be enjoying what you do. And I don't think we were meant to be here for our one life like floundering. I just don't.
Yeah.
I do believe in, but I don't believe that that's what we're supposed to be doing. I don't think we're
Yeah.
supposed to be in a 9 to 5, if we don't want to be. Like if you want to be,
Yeah.
heck yeah, power to you. Go to your 9 to 5. I love that for you. But if it's not something that you wanna do, then, change it. You can do it. You can change it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, one of my favorite movies is a Disney movie, and it is Soul, and yes, love it. Yes, and when that guy, like, jumps back into
Yep.
his, like, 9 to 5 desk job and he's, like, throwing the stuff, I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And then they were talking about, like, the purpose, right? Like, someone's purpose, and he, like, laughs, and he's like, you humans and your purpose," right? We always feel like we have to be doing something or, like, achieving something or whatever, and, like, we have all of this stuff tied to like who we are like work wise, right? Like if you talk to someone and you're like, hey, nice to meet you, blah blah blah, they're immediately like, what do you do for work?
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm like, how about you ask them who they are as a person?
Yeah.
Like why do I care what you do for work? That's
So
cool.
funny. I don't know, maybe it's just been, like, instilled in conversation 101, like how we talk about the weather, but I
Yeah.
never thought of that. Like, I literally just did it today. I met somebody for the first time, and they were like, "Oh, what does your husband do?" And I was like, "He does" you know what I mean? And it's like, it's just funny that that is always brought up in a conversation.
Yep. Yeah.
But
Like what do you
honestly
do for work?
But honestly, like,
Weird.
now that we do our own things, like, we hope that gets brought up in a conversation so we can talk about our jobs.
No, truly, because then some people ask me for advice and I'm like, I don't this is not like I'm not at work. I'm sorry.
It's not typical. I just
Yeah, but
follow my
sometimes I
intuition.
love it. If you get me in like a genuine conversation or you start talking about something that I love, then like I'm all for it. So if you want to talk about your personal life, maybe start asking me about like Carl Jung. Start by talking about Stephen Hawking. Or let me think of who else. Who else would be a good one? I love that movie, The Theory of Everything. It's Stephen Hawking. It's great. It's my jam. It's my jam. Yeah, maybe start with those first. Like Carl Jung is very like Sigmund Freud-esque. Um, love that. So maybe start with that and then tell me
Love it.
about your problems and I might be more inclined to like respond.
I know.
But yeah, I'm the last person to tell you what I do. Like if I was in a room full of people like at a party or something and I'm like, you
Yeah.
all can talk about what you do. That's cool. Not because I don't love what I do, but because I keep it so like sacred to me that I don't necessarily feel like I want you to like me for me,
Okay.
not for what I'm doing,
Yeah.
right? Like I want you to like me as a person,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's the thing is like if I go up to someone and be like, "Hi, how are you? Like how's your day?" right? I want to know who you are. Like that deep stuff is where it's at. Like
Yeah.
tell me about your trauma. Tell me about why you don't talk to your relative. Like tell me
I
about that.
still think about all the girls in line for the bathroom at the clubs.
Yeah.
Like, there's no friendship like somebody in
Uh-huh.
front of you going to the bathroom at a club. I don't think I've ever gotten that
Yeah.
deep with some of my best
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so true.
Yeah, like, act like you're drunk and tell me about
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? Like, tell me about the real stuff. Like, I don't wanna hear about what you do at your 9 to 5. I don't honestly, that's cool, but
Yeah.
who are you, right? And I think sometimes we just get so caught up in, like, the enmeshment between our work and our life, and I'm like, I'm a totally different person from that. Like, when I'm at home, you will see me in my rain boots, like chasing around three chickens and two children and two dogs. Like I'm a totally different person outside of that. But then again, at the same time, I live so like authentically as myself that a lot of it just overlaps very naturally because I'm exactly who I want to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So go do it. Do whatever you want to do. Do whatever makes you happy. Screw it. What do you like?
Yeah.
You could
Um,
die tomorrow and then what? Like, why?
I know. Chills.
And that sounds so cliche, but like
I know,
truly
but
you
it's so
could, right?
scary
Like,
too.
I don't even see it as fear. It just kind of motivates me to do it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Love every second with your kids. Like, nothing is guaranteed to anybody. And that's like my other favorite part of all of that is I remember every day that nothing is guaranteed to anybody. Ever.
Love that. Yeah, it's so true. I feel like, you guys that are listening to this podcast, like there's either you're already doing it or you're wanting to do it. And it's just, you have to just go for it. I think, Dr. Taylor said it great. Like, you just have to, who cares? Just go
Yeah.
for it.
Get out there.
I love it. So, Dr. Taylor, where can everybody find you and support you?
Yeah, sure. So right now the website is kind of here nor there, and you can still hear that I have some sort of cold going on, so that's great. Welcome to Life with Two Kids. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook or email me, Dr. period Taylor Harper at gmail.com. Please, please, please email me. If you email me about your personal questions, I will not answer because HIPAA and all of those things. So it's not a solicitation email. Please don't. However, if you want to know about the books, if you want to know about the foundation, if you want to hire me as an author at your school, please, 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 please email me, Instagram, DM me, however you can get a hold of me. I promise you, if you DM me on Instagram, it is 100% me. There's nobody else, me, myself, and I. So like you will get a response from me. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And hopefully I didn't stir the pot too much.